You know, every year more than 1 billion people around the world hit pause on their normal lives for a whole month. They stop eating, stop drinking, and turn their focus completely inward. We're talking about Ramadan, of course, and in this explainer, we're going to get into the why of it all. We'll look at the language, the deep spiritual goals, and what the day-to-day practice actually looks like.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the meaning hidden right there in the words. Then, we'll uncover the big why, the ultimate goal of the fast. After that, we'll explore what makes this month so special, get into the nitty-gritty of the rules, and finally, look at all the other practices that really complete the whole experience.
Okay, so to really get what Ramadan is all about, you've got to start with the language. I mean, the words themselves. They hold the key to the whole philosophy.
So the name Ramadan itself, it comes from the Arabic root ramad, which literally means scorching heat. And believe me, that is no accident. It's this incredible metaphor for how the intensity of this month is meant to just burn away a person's sins, leaving them feeling purified.
And the main thing people do, right? The fasting. Well, the Arabic word for that is sum. We all think of it as just not eating or drinking, but the literal meaning is to abstain or to stop. And that points to something way deeper, a more complete kind of self-control, and we're definitely going to circle back to that.
Now, this is super interesting. Look at how the same idea is said across the Arabic-speaking world. In the formal, classical Arabic, Fussa, you'd say Ramadanu. But if you're in the Emirates, you're more likely to hear Rimatan. It's these small changes in pronunciation that just perfectly show the rich diversity of cultures, all united by this one spiritual practice. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, so we've got the meaning of the words down, but let's be real for a second. Not eating or drinking for an entire month, that is a huge commitment. So what's the end game here? What's the ultimate spiritual point? What's the real why behind it all?
Well, the answer comes straight from the Quran. This verse lays it out crystal clear. It says, fasting is prescribed for one main reason, to achieve something called taqwa.
So what exactly is taqwa? It's a huge concept in Islam. You might see it translated as piety or even fear of God, but it's so much more nuanced than that. Think of it like this. It's about developing a constant awareness of God's presence, a kind of inner compass that guides everything you do, think, and say. It's what leads to that deep self-restraint we were talking about.
So in a way, fasting is basically a spiritual boot camp that lasts a whole month. It starts with controlling those really basic physical urges. That builds up your self-restraint muscle. And when that gets stronger, it naturally weakens those negative impulses, which, clears the way for spiritual purity in achieving that state of taqwa. A really great way to think about it is like a yearly tune-up for your soul. I mean, think about it. After 11 months of just life and all its distractions, your spirit can get a little worn down. Ramadan is that 1 month set aside for some serious spiritual maintenance. It's the tune-up you need to purify your heart and just reconnect.
But that begs the question, right? Why this month? What makes Ramadan the designated time for this big spiritual tune-up? What makes it so different from the other 11 months on the calendar?
Well, according to Islamic tradition, Ramadan is just packed with unique divine blessings. The belief is that during this 1 month, the gates of heaven are swung wide open. The gates of hell are shut, and the devils are actually chained up. This creates this incredible, spiritually charged atmosphere that's just perfect for worship and turning back to God.
But the number one thing, the thing that truly sets it apart from every other month, is its connection to the Quran. This is the month when the scripture was first revealed to mankind, which forever stamped it as a month of divine guidance.
And as if that wasn't enough, tucked away inside this special month is the absolute crown jewel, Laylat al-Qadr, which means the night of power. It's a single night, somewhere in the last 10 days of Ramadan, and it is considered the holiest night of the entire year, hands down.
And to give you an idea of how big a deal this is, get this. The Quran says that worship on this one night is better than worshiping for 1,000 months. 1,000 months! That's more than 83 years. It's just an unbelievable opportunity for spiritual reward.
All right, so let's switch gears a bit. We've talked a lot about the why. Now let's get into the how. What are the actual practical rules of fasting? What does it really mean to abstain from dawn till dusk?
The physical rules are actually pretty straightforward, and it all comes down to one key thing: intention. If you intentionally eat, drink, or have marital relations during the day, your fast is broken. But here's the fascinating part.
If you completely forget and accidentally have a sip of water or a bite of something, your fast is still considered valid. It's all about what was in your heart.
But like we've been saying, the fast is so much more than just physical. There's a famous saying from the Prophet Muhammad that describes the fast as a shield, like a kind of spiritual armor. And that metaphor, shield, it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? If fasting is a shield, what could possibly tear it? What kind of actions would leave you spiritually vulnerable?
Well, here's the answer. Things like lying, gossiping, slandering someone, those are the things that tear the shield. Now, they don't physically break your fast, you're still fasting, but they can totally wipe out all the spiritual reward, leaving you with, well, nothing but an empty stomach. It's a huge reminder that this is an ethical and moral journey, not just a physical one.
And you know, these ancient rules are still being applied to our modern world. Islamic scholars have looked at all sorts of contemporary medical issues. For example, getting a nutritional IV drip, that's generally considered to break the fast, because, hey, it's nourishment. But a regular, non-nutritional injection, that's usually fine. It just goes to show how these timeless principles can be adapted to new situations.
So while fasting, or Sawm, is definitely the main event of Ramadan, it's not the only thing going on. The entire month is filled with other key practices, all designed to help you get the most spiritual growth possible.
You've got the special nightly prayers known as Taraweeh. There's a practice called Itikaf, where people will actually go into seclusion in a mosque for the last 10 days. There's a huge emphasis on giving more to charity, and of course, there's a deep focus on reading and really thinking about the Quran, the book that started it all.
And that really brings us to the final big idea. The core paradox of Ramadan, when you think about it, is this. How does a month that's all about denying yourself physically, no food, no water, no worldly pleasures, somehow become the ultimate source of spiritual fulfillment and abundance? I think chewing on that question, that's maybe the best way to really get to the heart of what Ramadan is all about.